World Edit. That word probably brings one of two images to mind. One being an incredibly useful tool to increase building speeds multiple times over, or you see it as an incredibly complicated mod that you don't understand and only use to make big TNT balls. By the end of this video, hopefully everyone will see World Edit as the first option, because without this mod, many of my big projects would have been impossible. Whether you've never used World Edit before, or you've used it a lot, there should be something to learn from this video. So there should be some timestamps on screen for you now to skip to if you would like. So let's start with the basics. The first thing you want to do is give yourself a wand with the command // wand. And there, you can see it pops into your hotbar. This may look like a normal wooden axe, but it is actually what allows you to select the area that you want to change. And how do you do that, you may ask? Well, that moves us on to our next command, // line. This command is nice and simple. We can select 2 points, and upon entering the command, a line will be drawn between the 2 points. So let's select our first point to this block here. We can do this by left-clicking it with the wand. And you can see in chat, it tells us our first position is set right here. And now let's select our second point. So I'm going to choose this block here. And if we right-click it, as you can see in chat, it's now set to the second position. So now that both our points are selected, let's type in // line, and then followed by whichever block you want it to be. So I'm going to use stone. And now we hit enter. And you can see it draws a line between the 2 points. Alright, now that you know the basics of World Edit, let's have a look at some more of the most simple commands. Our next one being // set. So like with line, we select 2 points. So I'm going to go here and here. And then we can type into chat // set, followed by the block we want it to be. This time we're going to use oak planks, and make sure you use an underscore instead of the space. And now if I hit enter, you can see it makes a cuboid of oak planks. The reason it makes a cuboid is because there's an invisible line drawn between, there's some invisible lines drawn between the 2 points that we selected. And when you connect those lines together, it makes a cuboid. So // set just fills in the selection we made. But now what if I decided that I didn't actually want a cuboid of oak planks here? Well, that's where your best friend // undo comes in, which undoes the last command you did. So now the planks are gone. And // undo also comes with // redo, which then would bring the planks back. Now you're probably starting to see why World Edit can be so useful. But there's still lots more that it can do. Our next command is // stack. This allows you to duplicate a selection multiple times over in a specific direction. Let's say that, for example, I wanted to build a skyscraper. I can make just one floor. Here's one I made earlier. And then I can make a selection around my floor. And then I can use the command // stack to copy it 10 times upwards. And there you go. That is a full skyscraper. Just that simple and that quick. So let's have a look at that command again. So the number, that tells you how many times you want to copy it. So I copied it 10 times, which means my skyscraper is now 11 floors tall, including my original first floor. And then the letter, that tells you what direction you want it to go. So up, U means up, but you've also got forwards, backwards, so that relates to which direction your player is facing. So if I go 10 forwards, you can see it copies 10 that way. But you can also use the compass directions, so you can use like north or just N, and that was in the same direction I was facing. So let's try east, maybe. You see it now copies it that direction. Right, I need to get rid of this mess now. Right, now it's time for probably my favourite command, /replace. This command allows you to replace only specific blocks. So let's say in this selection, I want to replace only grass blocks with air. So I'm going to type /replace, and the block I want to replace, so grass block, and the block I want to replace it with, so air. And then when I execute the command, you can see it's replaced all the grass blocks with air. And only the grass blocks with air. Even though there are loads of other blocks in this selection, it's only replaced the grass blocks. When typing the block you want into your command, you're actually typing something in called a pattern. A pattern can be made up as many blocks as you like, separated by commas. For example, I can use /set again, except this time I want to set it as stone, dirt, and oak logs. And you can see that I get an incredibly ugly mix of blocks here. It's an equal mix of all of them. But let's say I want more oak logs than the other two. I can do this by putting percentages in front of each of the blocks. And I'm sorry, but you do have to do some maths because the numbers have to add up to 100%. So let's go 10% stone, 10% dirt, and now to add up to 100, 80% oak log. And now you can see there are lots more oak logs than the other two blocks. These percentages can be used in any of the commands where you're typing in a block. So this also works in /replace and /line. Right, let's get rid of this ugly floor. Much nicer. Everything that I have showed you so far has been using the cuboid selection tool, but WorldEdit offers several more. The most useful of these is the polygon selector, and this is going to be the only one I show in this video. But if you want to hear more about the others, then let me know and I might make a second video. You can switch to the polygon selector tool with /cell poly. Ooh, that's not good. Right, I'm not sure why my WorldEdit kept crashing there, so I've moved on to the Build the Earth server. So sorry about the chat messages. But as I was saying, you can change the polygon selector tool by doing /cell poly. And there you go. You can see in chat that we've got a polygon selector tool now. In order to make a selection, you must first choose a start location, which you can do by left-clicking a block. And you can see in chat that it tells you that a new polygon has been created. From here you can add as many points as you want, and they'll be joined together in a line, and then back to the start point to create a closed shape. You can add points by right-clicking the wand. So we got one there, a third one there, another one here, and let's go one more just there. Once you've got all of the points, you can use the same commands as with a cuboid selector, so /set, and I'm going to just go set stone again. And as you can see, the outline that we just created has been filled in. This is very useful for making shapes that aren't square, which is a lot more often than you think in a game like Minecraft. The height of the selection will be defined by whatever the highest and lowest blocks you selected were. So for this one, this is the lowest block, and this is the highest block here. So now, if I set stone again, you can see it fills in between the lowest and the highest block. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about the polygon selector tool. in order to get back to your normal selection tool, you can go /cell cuboid, and there you go. Right, we're back on to my single player world. The final feature I want to talk about in this video is brushes. To create a brush, you first need to get any item. I like to use shovels. I don't know why, but I just do. And then you can type the command /brush, followed by the type of brush, and then the pattern of or blocks you want the brush to be, and then the size. So I normally use a sphere, and then I'm going to choose stone with a radius of 5. Once the brush has been created, you can use it by right-clicking while pointing at a block. As you can see, this works at any distance, and every time I click, it creates a sphere of stone. On their own, brushes can be useful to quickly create terrain or landscapes, but I find them much more powerful when you combine them with something called a mask. A mask tells the brush which block it is able to replace, similar to the replace command. To add a mask to the brush, you need to hold it in your hand, and you need to type /mask, followed by the block that you want to be able to replace. So in this case, I'm going to do sandstone. And now when I use the brush, you can see it is only replacing the sandstone. World Edit also allows you to add a lot more constraints to masks as well, but I'm just going to show you the two most useful. If you put an exclamation mark in front of your block, so if we go exclamation mark sandstone, then it will only replace blocks that aren't sandstone. So now, if I have a look underneath this, you can see it hasn't replaced the sandstone, it's replaced only the air. And if I put some other block on top of the sandstone, it will replace it. That wasn't a good example, but it will replace any block that's not sandstone. The other useful feature the masks have is by using the greater than or less than signs, you can replace only blocks that are underneath or above another block. So now if I change my mask to /mask greater than cobblestone, you can see that it will only replace blocks that are directly above the cobblestone. Finally, if you want to join two masks together, for example, if you only want to replace red wool that is below air, then you can write the masks within quotation marks, leaving a space between the two masks. So for this example, I can go /mask, and then, so I only want to replace red wool, leave a space that is directly below air. So let's quickly get some red wool to test. Alright, there we go. And now if we use our brush, we can see it's only replacing the red wool that is directly below air. And with that, that should be everything for this video. And even though that might have seemed like a lot of information, World Edit has many more features and a lot that I haven't even discovered yet. But the ones that I talked about are probably the ones that I find the most useful for building. I hope you learned something, and if you got this far in the video, maybe subscribe. Maybe. Just maybe. Please. Anyway, bye!